How's it going, guys? So my name's Casey Beck. I'm a disabled veteran, country singer, creator, one-time educator. I got all kinds of titles. But the main thing today, I thought I would take some time to help out my community being the disabled veteran community. So I thought I'd give you some tips on getting your disability. There's a crap load of people out there that'll make these promises and they'll make a buttload of money and all this stuff, and I'm not going to do that. I don't need to make money from that. I've got a job. I get my disability. I'm tired. So helping you out as much as I want to, it's easier for me to tell you how to do it and let you go do it yourself than it is for me to sit there and walk you through it, spend a buttload of time, money, resources. I don't have that. So what I want to tell you, you need to start with this and take a pin down. Please subscribe, but take a pin down. Write this down. The first thing you need to do is you need to understand that everything in the VA, 100% of the disability stuff, is in 38 CFR. Yes, 38 CFR. Just like OSHA's 29 CFR, this is 38 CFR. So 38 CFR is the VA program. Then what you need to understand is how it works. So I didn't understand. I was pissed. I was like, oh, these guys are rejecting it. Oh, these doctors suck. Actually, the VA doctors have been amazing as far as their reviews. They're like, hey, basically what they exactly stated was this guy got hurt in the military. He has these disabilities. This is the condition. And then what happened was it got up to the raters. Now, what you need to understand, and I didn't know this until somebody walked me through it, and she happened to be a rater supervisor at Waco, and she walked me through it, and she said, well, imagine this. They got all these tables, and they got all this claims, and they're stacked up there. So when they get a claim, they're going to look for the exact keywords that they've got in their little Excel spreadsheet or in their little sheet. And if it says inguinal hernia, for instance, that's a common one, or if it says sleep apnea, first thing they're going to do is see if there's an in-service connection. If there's no in-service connection, they're going to deny it. Even if there is an in-service connection, if it takes too long for them to get to the documentation, they're going to deny it. For instance, I got a UP3 surgery, or UPPP as they call it, which is the sleep apnea surgery. I had it documented in the Army. I had a guarantee that at some point I'm going to get that disability. It's just a matter of it getting to the right hands and I'm reading it and go, oh yeah, he had sleep apnea in the military. If you have that, you're golden. But you need to understand that these raters are not medical. They're literally, in most cases, homeless guys they round up off the streets. Some are ex-military, most are not. They do that on purpose. The VA doesn't want to give guys that are likely to give you benefits. They make it hard on you on purpose. And then, like if you're in my case, I've had a claim going, an appeals claim for like 8 years now. And it just keeps going. It's a traditional claim. No, I don't have the money to go pay a lawyer and sit there, and I'm not going to waste my back pay money paying a lawyer. So going through that, that's how the system works. A homeless guy gets a job. He reads through it. He's not very well educated. He's not a doctor. He probably has no college, and he goes, okay, I don't see it here. On to the next one. Oh, this condition? Oh, yeah, it says it here. Approve one thing. You know, and it goes through and it goes through. So what you need to do is you need to think of it that way. I literally, in a lot of my stuff, quoted word for word and had the doctor say, yes, this matches this disability verbatim. It had arrows pointing everywhere. I even in one of them said, look, SOBs, it's right here. Like, and this is also goes back to why you don't want to have a lawyer when you file your claims. Let me explain why you don't always want to do that. In some cases you do. If you've tried everything, having a lawyer is great. The problem is your lawyer has to be gentlemanly about it. You do not. As a veteran, you can say, look, you SOBs suck. Your raters are not paying attention. The doctor said this, it's right there. And that's how I did it. I literally cussed him out. Like, it's in my claims. And it helped me later because it was like, hey, look, it's pretty freaking blatant. You're ignoring what the doctor's saying. And that's basically it. So understand those two things. The next thing is the three-prong test. And there's three-prong tests in a lot of stuff. But the main thing is, was there an in-service connection? Yes? No. Was there an exacerbation of a condition that you had or a genetic condition that got out of hand while in the military? For instance, like you get dehydrated and for the rest of your life you keep having dehydration. That's a great condition. I mean, unfortunately, it's not really a pre-existing. It may be, it may not be. And then the last thing is, can you prove it? And how does it affect you? That's the part a lot of veterans leave out. How does it affect you? I didn't ever think of putting how it affect me. I'm like, look, man, I got sleep apnea. I'm almost having a stroke. My doctor says I'm going to have a stroke. I'm only 26 years old at the time, 27, whatever. And the doctor's like, he's about to have a stroke. He doesn't have enough oxygen in his system. And he's driving a small semi-truck. And I was like, yeah, the doctor said it better than I did. And the Cedar Park VA, literally, and Mr. A up there will tell you, man, they almost all got fired because the doctor finally said, look, I'm giving him the CPAP machine anyway, and you can fire me. And then 2 or 3 months later, I actually got my disability. They tried to fire the whole Cedar Park VA because they gave me a CPAP and jumped the gun 2 or 3 months earlier, knowing I was going to get disability. It was obvious. I had the sleep apnea surgery. I'm going to get disability. They jumped the gun. They gave me the CPAP, and then they almost all got fired. It was a big deal. But to this day, Mr. A and me are cool, and he's like, oh, B, yeah, how you doing, B? How's this? I'm like, hey, I'm doing okay, man. I'm almost 40 now. He's like, damn, it's been a long time. But that gives you an example. Now, I bring in some of my stories, but your own stories need to go in there. When you approach the VA, you need to think of it that way. Loser raters, they don't know nothing. They're just going through it. Even senior raters, they've only been doing it a while. They see these conditions. So you got to walk them through it and give them an exact verbatim, like a paragraph in line, just like the military. Give them a paragraph in line and say, it's this much percent, it's this condition, this matches this, and have your doctor write that in there. So when you go ahead of time and say, hey, look, last time I came here, the doctor said this, but if I can get you to specify that this falls under this, like a case in point, irritable bowel syndrome. Okay, there's a lot of titles for that. If you don't have it exactly coded right, you won't get it. Same thing with gastrointestinal issues that are caused while in service. Like in my case, I have Barrett's esophagus that was starting in the military. Why it was, I don't know. Fort Hood water, maybe? That's a condition. I was having all these problems throwing up. Maybe it was the meds. Maybe it was the narcotics. It's tearing up my esophagus. I got precancerous cells. So I had the doctor write it exactly the way it's going on, based on the percentage of what it should be. It came back, and I got automatic 60 on that. And that got me my 100%. But you got to think of it strategically. You got to think, what's the easiest way for this guy to read this and get me my benefits? I know that's 7 minutes of your life you're not going to get back. So I would appreciate if you subscribe. I will come back and I will give some more tips on it. I'll go through some different conditions in the future. I'll also keep bringing up my music stuff. This is one thing I thought I'd do for my community, because some of the people out there are saying, hey, help your community and you'll get views and subscriptions. I'd love to get you guys as a follower. I just gave you some tips on getting your VA disability. If you have questions, hit me up. I don't have a lot of time to help. I do have a family and work, and I stay busy. But if you need help, let me know. Casey Beck, please subscribe.